want to talk about sneakers. So joining us is Josh Luber, co-founder and CEO of StockX and host of StockX TV. And just like a traditional stock market, right? People can buy and sell sneakers on your particular platform. So to kick off this week, we want to know what is going on in the market. What are the hottest selling sneakers? What are the hottest commodities out there?
So I think that the place to start is this past weekend, there was a shoe that released. It was called the Air Jordan 2 Don C.
Okay.
All right, and this is a shoe that is, it literally is a pink shoe that was released on Mother's Day with Air Jordan, right?
Fancy.
This is the third one that he's done. He's done a blue one, he's done a beach colored one, and now a pink one. And this one was released only in women's and children's sizes. So the other two have been released in men's sizes. They sell for as much as $1,000. And he said, this one we're gonna do just for the women and children.
What's the price?
Well, it retailed at $350, and on the secondary market, it's already about $550 to $600.
Significant.
For children's shoes.
Now, is that the usual increase that you would see when something hits the markets, or is there more hype around this particular shoe than those that usually hit the market?
I think this is pretty normal for a shoe that's very limited, that has a special designer associated with it, that's Air Jordan. That's a pretty normal hype, although sometimes we do see shoes into the thousands, but going for a $550, $600 women's and kids shoe, that is unique.
Right, well, luckily for me, I can wear a kid size like 4. So is it rare though for these types of brands to release shoes for women specifically? That seems like most of the brands want to go after the male market.
It's clearly not rare to release women's and children's shoes. It is very rare to release limited release exclusive women's and children's shoes. So this is, and credit to Don and his decision that said, listen, we've done these in the past and they sold for a lot of money, but my kids and my wife couldn't get any, so I'm making them for them, for their size.
Yeah, and you see the secondary market, I think you said $500 and the retail was $350, so it's not as big of a premium as you see in the markets for male shoes.
Sure, the same shoe, now he had the previous shoes selling for as much as $1,000, so it's clearly a lot more, but still, nonetheless, to have any shoe in that size that sells for that much is rare and frankly kind of cool.
Okay, what else do you have your eye on in the market? Are there any other sneakers coming to market soon that you think could be big sellers or really hyped up on your particular platform?
I'll tell you what, let's look like far in advance. We don't know when this is coming out, but about a month ago, Adidas announced a 4D printed shoe. Right? This was a partnership with a company called Carbon, which is, I'm not an expert in 3D printing, but one of the sort of innovators in 3D printing. And it was called the Adidas 4D Futurecraft. And just a super cool looking shoe made with 3D printing. So we'll see when that comes out and how rare that is and how much that sells for.
Amazing. And now you do track these brands like you do stock. So what are the biggest movers right now that you're watching?
Yeah, I mean, when we look at the brands involved in the secondary market, we actually have indices that track Nike and Adidas and Jordan brand. And for most of this year, it's looked pretty much steady in that Adidas has been in the lead pretty much all year. Right? This past week, when we look at the total dollars that moved through the resale market, Nike and Jordan both about $10 million worth of resale sales this past week. And
that's significant.
It is significant. It is significant. And Adidas, more than that, Adidas had about 14 million this past week. And both of those haven't moved much since the previous week, right? They've been about the same. But Adidas has been ahead of both Nike and Jordan, which we look at separately as two separate brands.
Yeah. Who are the most active traders on the platform? Is it sneaker gurus? Is it retailers? Is it the equivalent of a day trader, right? That's sitting at home and has a taste of which brands are hot?
A little bit of all of that, right? The people that move the most weight are exactly who you think, which is the day trader, the person that maybe doesn't even care about the shoe, doesn't care about necessarily wearing it, but they understand the business opportunity and the essentially instant arbitrage to be able to buy a shoe like the Don C at retail for $350 and immediately resell it for $600.
Amazing. And what's the correlation with the actual stock prices? So if we can pull up, Nike year to date has been up about 5.8%, and then Adidas has been up year to date, I think a bit higher than that. I mean, do you see any correlations with your indices and what the indices in the major markets are looking at?
Well, let's point out there's certainly not a direct correlation. However, in the past 2 years, Adidas' share of the resale market has gone from 1%, essentially non-existent, to about a third of the entire market in 2 years. During that same period of time, Adidas' stock price tripled.
So what do you attribute that to in Adidas? I mean, I think people would say for Adidas, it may be, I mean, primarily I think many people would say it is the sneakers, but also too, it doesn't just sell sneakers, right? I mean, what has caused Adidas to leap above others, at least in terms of growth?
Yeah. Well, you know, in the retail market, there's kind of been a perfect storm around Adidas, right? You've had influencers like Kanye and Pharrell. You've had new technology, it's called the Boost technology that we now see in the soul of a lot of Adidas products. And they've come out with a lot of new models that have also been pretty cool. So when you combine all of those things, and then they start to use that limited release strategy of having shoes that are rare on the secondary market, all those things factor together.
Okay, we also have a box, right? A box that we're gonna bring over, and inside is something special. I think the box is kind of heavy. Multiple people are carrying it. While we set this
We're gonna
up,
put this on the table here.
let's put this on.
Hold it for you.
All right, we're gonna
Here to
hold it.
hold it. Oh,
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Full service.
So
This is heavy.
this is a phenomenal example of brands and companies that do special packaging around sneakers, right? It's not just a pair of shoes in a cardboard box. This is a special project between Mountain Dew and Nike around Kyrie Irving shoe. So it's called the Kyrie 3.
Okay.
And this is called the K.A.R.E kit, which is Kyrie's ankle recovery equipment. I suppose because Kyrie will break your ankles and go right by you. So we're gonna open this live. This thing is massive, two people holding it. We're gonna cover these guys' faces here. Sorry.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so
Wow.
there's an X-ray, apparently a broken ankle signed by Kyrie. There's an iPad that has, I think it's Kyrie highlights will show up on the iPad. There's five cans
Layers
of Mountain
here.
Dew, which
Wow.
have Kyrie's name on it, K-Y-R-I-E. And I believe that these are actually available in the Cleveland area. If you're buying Mountain Dew in the Cleveland area,
Nice.
you can get this package. And
Okay.
then the real key here is the actual shoes, which are
Stuffed with foam.
right? So this is, get back to the sneaker, this is a rare colorway that you can't get anywhere else.
Right.
And it probably says Mountain Dew or something. It says, you can't see it in here, but it says Dew NBA 3X. So this is Mountain Dew's 3-on-3 tournament that's on the inside of this. And this shoe, right, which there's only
Textured
33
on
of
the side.
this package made.
33?
This will probably sell for thousands of dollars on the secondary market. This will be given to a few influencers. There's a phone in here
Feels prickly on
in
the
case
side.
of emergency. I guess you call.
Probably
I don't know
plug
who
that
you
into
call.
your iPhone and it can operate like a real
I don't
phone.
think anyone's going to know what that is, right? Any kids today going to know what this is?
Wait,
This is a
didn't they
phone.
used to
I think
make,
they
didn't they
might.
used to make phones in the shape of shoes too back in the day?
Sure,
Right?
absolutely. And then, is there more stuff
Pick
in
up
here?
the shoe.
Packaging.
It's
And a
I don't-
play,
Pack-
looks like a
elastic
remember the
ankle
whiteboard?
wrap, ice pack. Yeah, I mean, so look, this is just an example of the length that brands and companies go to create something that's new and unique. And they did this about 2 years ago with Uncle Drew, Kyrie's character on Pepsi. And the Uncle Drew Kyrie shoe and package they created then, there's one listed right now on StockX for $15,000.
$15,000?
Right? So it's, you know, you start with what used to be just a shoe in a box, and now the really interesting things, you go, oh, there's more. It's like
Wow.
I think this is what they used to use, right? What the coaches would use, almost like a whiteboard to write plays on.
yeah, exactly.
I did play basketball at one point in my life.
There's magnets. I think this thing just goes on forever. But
All right.
there are
And a
none
workout
of
if
these
you hold it, I
for
guess. You can
sale
get that
yet.
too.
There's none of these for sale yet. There's only 33 that exist. My guess is after these are given away, I think they're being given away in the Cleveland area, you'll see some popping up for sale, probably over 10 grand for this package.
So do folks pay like $15,000 like art collectors do for pieces of art? And did they
Yeah.
appreciate in value over time? Will this then appreciate in value?
It may. It's so rare to keep this whole package intact and to have something like this, particularly if you're a Kyrie fan, that, you know, it might, right? It really might. So
I'm sure we have people on the show, right, that probably do trade these shoes. I mean, if they want to come to your platform, right, and start getting active in this, like how steep, I guess, is the learning curve? How quickly can they just dive right in?
The whole point of creating a stock exchange for things, for consumer goods and sneakers, is to make it as easy as just going and buying a share of stock or buying a pair of shoes. So it's pretty simple. It gets more complex when you want to try to sell $15,000 products, but that's the fun part.
Okay, see, and these are going to be on sale probably some around the Cleveland area, you said?
I think locally, I think the way it works is if you collect all 5 Kyrie cans, then I think you're entered to win one of the 33
It's a process.
packages. It's a process.
It's a process.
So, but if it's worth $15,000 plus, I think it's, I mean, look at this.
If green is your color.
So you have one now. Are you selling it on your exchange?
No, I'm keeping this one.
You're keeping that one. And how quickly after these hit the market, do they hit the secondary market?
Immediately. Literally, the moment that shoes are released, even before they're released, they're already trading on the secondary markets. People are expecting of what they're going to be worth.
So they're pre-listing them?
Yeah.
Like shorting their sneakers.
Yeah. Well, in fact, the alternate, there's someone right now that has a bid for one of these on StockX for $1,000. So that's tied to someone's PayPal or their credit card. So you could sell it to that person right now for $1,000. My guess is it'll be worth a lot more.
I mean, how many pairs of sneakers are there in the market, right? I mean, like, what is the optionality? There are thousands of stocks.
Tens of thousands.
Right. That's how many sneakers are?
Probably even more than that when you think of all the sneakers that have ever been released. But the majority of the value on the secondary market is what came out last week, last month, right? So at the end of last month, there was a shoe called the Adidas 350 V2 Yeezy. Right. This was a white colored Yeezy. That's Kanye's shoe with Adidas. That's the shoe that sells the most right now. It sells for about $600.
All right, Josh Luber. Anything else we need to know about these real-time prices?
No, that's it.
Okay, thank you guys.
See you soon.
Thank you.